Lorenzo Vitale, Bruno Bellotta, a mafia boss in Sicily, comes in his vineyard with his grandson and discovers a slew of dead victims lying around. He enters alone and discovers 3 of his guys seated with a pistol to Robert McCall's, Denzel Washington, head. When Vitale asks McCall what he's doing there, he replies he's there for something they took that wasn't theirs. McCall gives them 9 seconds to stand down before killing the 3 thugs and leaving Vitale limping away. He pulls out a firearm and shoots Vitale in the head. The grandson notices McCall as he walks away with a bag, and McCall urges him to stay in the car. The youngster shoots McCall in the leg and flees. McCall drives far enough till he passes out. And cop, Gio Bonucci, Eugenio Mastrandrea, finds him and brings him to his town's doctor, Enzo Aricio. Remo Girone. Enzo instructs Gio to inform anybody who inquires that McCall has died. After a few days, McCall awakens to find himself in the town of Altamonte. He befriends Enzo, who gives him a place to stay, and he befriends Gio and his daughter, Gabby. Dia Lanzaro, McCall begins visiting the neighborhood cafe and meets one of the waitresses, Amina Gaia Scodolaro. McCall admits he's not sure if he's a good or evil man when Enzo asks. Images of his late companion Susan Plummer, Melissa Leo, torment him, as he recalls killing the guys at the vineyard one by one. Later, McCall contacts the DIA and meets with Emma Collins, Dakota Fanning. He tells her about what he discovered at the vineyard in Sicily, and advises she look into it. Collins goes with her partner, Frank Conroy, David Denman, and a crew to discover 11 million euros and a large stockpile of drugs. She subsequently finds McCall in Altamonte and begins speaking with him about what they discovered at the vineyard. A gangster named Marco Quaranta, Andrea Dodaro, is antagonizing a fish vendor named Angelo Daniele Perrone in Altamonte over not giving him what he wants, then demands it the next time he comes up. Marco and his brother Vincent, Andrea Scarduzio, are the leaders of the Camorra, a mafia organization that terrorizes Altamonte. Marco pays Vincent a visit when he is dealing with a couple who refuse to hand up their building so Vincent may establish a hotel. He replies by throwing and hanging the wife's wheelchair-bound father from a window, then leaving his corpse for the other neighbors to view as a warning. Gio receives a phone call informing him that Gabby has left school early, and when he inquires with her teacher, she responds that one of his officers has taken her. Gio returns home to discover Gabby and his wife Chiara, Sonia Amar, being held prisoner by Marco and his thugs, who then threaten Gio to get out of their way. McCall witnesses people fleeing at night as they hear a bell ring. Angelo's store has been set on fire, and he and his wife can only stand back and watch as it burns. McCall watches Marco and his thugs sitting back and watching proceedings, and he knows exactly who to pursue. Collins witnesses a news story on a terrorist incident in Rome, which is suspected to have been carried out by Syrian terrorists. Based on what she has heard from McCall, she does not believe this was the work of Syrians, despite the fact that the narcotics recovered at the vineyard were theirs. She tells Conroy that she feels this is part of a larger scheme. Indeed, Vincent and Marco spoke about their plans to take over the entire coast with their own businesses, and the terrorist attack was part of the plan. Collins is also trapped near an explosion in the city while attempting to get close her car, but she is alive and in the hospital. In an attempt to persuade Gio to buy boats from Somalis, Marco visits to a restaurant where he is eating dinner with his family. Marco then observes McCall gazing at him and approaches him. McCall makes it plain to him what will happen if he continues to threaten the family, so he takes Marco's wrist and compresses a nerve in his hand, causing him pain until he gets his thugs out of the restaurant. Outside, Marco plots to revenge, but one of his goons is ran over by a vehicle which has already killed the driver, another goon, by McCall. Before attacking Marco, he murders the final goon, severing his arm and forcing him to stab himself to death. After Vincent hears of his brother's death, he receives a visit from Chief Barella, Adolfo Margiata, who looks to be in cahoots with the Camorra. When Barella makes threats, Vincent stabbings his hand and then has his goon chop off Barella's hand before bringing him to the hospital to have it reattached. Vincent then intends to exact vengeance. Vincent and his thugs travel to Altamonte and attack Gio, shooting a gun near his ear and threatening to kill him and his family until the killer of his brother appears. McCall appears and instructs Vincent to grab him and leave everyone else alone. Enzo shoots his own weapon before Vincent can murder McCall. Residents then take out their phones and videotape the crooks, causing them to run before the cops come. Vincent returns to his stronghold and begins making arrangements for the next day's attack on Altamonte. Unfortunately for them, McCall has discovered them first and is picking them off. When one of his thugs' blood drops on him from the ceiling before the body crashes through the glass, Vincent awakens. McCall knocks Vincent down as he attempts to flee. When he awakens, he discovers that McCall has administered a deadly dose of the medicines discovered at the vineyard, giving him only a few minutes until his heart stops beating. Vincent tries to run into the street while McCall walks slowly behind him, and he is hit by a vehicle. The criminal boss falls a bit further before succumbing to his injuries. McCall subsequently pays a visit to Collins in the hospital. He explains to her that the true reason he traveled to Sicily was to reclaim pension money from someone he knew who had it taken by thieves. He abandons her with the money bag. Collins travels to Boston, where the individual McCall mentioned resides. He and his wife are overcome with emotion and gratitude after learning that their money has been retrieved. When Collins returns to work, she receives a tiny black book from McCall detailing all of his personal gatherings, along with a message that says, "Your mother would be very proud of you." Collins then examines a picture on her desk, which reveals that she is Susan's daughter.